In the flicker of candlelight, inked on parchment, lies a map. A map of medieval German lands marked by the crimson cross of the Knights Templar. These marks are real places, sites where Templar commanderies once stood. Yet around each rises a haze of legend. Tonight we journey through both the recorded history and the enduring myths of the Templars' footprint in German-speaking lands. A tale written in stone and in story, in map and in myth.
I am bored, what should I do? Ich weiß, get Germanized.
Act 1. The Red Cross arrives in the Empire. The year is the mid-12th century. As Crusaders' zeal sweeps Europe, the Knights Templar extend their reach from Jerusalem into the heart of the Holy Roman Empire. One of the earliest footholds is in Metz, in Lotharingia. A Templar chapel there, dating to the 1100s, became the oldest Templar institution in the empire. Soon, emperors, bishops, and barons welcome these warrior monks. Land and privileges are granted, farms and fortresses established. The Teutonic forests and Rhine valleys witness the white mantles with red crosses for the first time. Across the German lands, the Templars organized themselves much as they did elsewhere. Each side a commandery or commandery, governed by a local prospector but answerable to the Grand Master in distant Jerusalem. They are both monks and knights, bound by strict rule, yet skilled in war and finance. In these regions they adapt, trading in local markets, draining swamps for farmland, guarding trade roads. By 1210, on the sandy Teltow plateau, a new community is founded that will one day be part of Berlin. It is called the Tempelhof, today's Tempelhof. In a charter of 1247, monks at Valkenried Abbey record Tempelhof as a Templar Kulturhof, a commander's farmstead, granted to the order. Here, 15 families of colonists from the Rhine were settled under the Templars' protection, tilling fertile soil around a moated compound. The Red Cross flag fluttered over quiet village fields, a sign of the order's sovereignty in this new land. Over time, dozens of Templar sites speckle the map of medieval Germany. In the south, knights hold estates near cities like Augsburg and Bamberg. By 1270, a Templar house and church stood in Augsburg streets. In the north, they run farms in Saxony's countryside, places like Süpplingenburg and Halberstadt, and a commandery at Braunschweig, Brunswick, from the mid-12th century. Along the Rhine's wine valleys, they established sanctuaries. At Kirchheim an der Weinstraße at Mainz, and a fortified farm called Templerhof in the village of Bad Bryzik. Each site has its purpose. A chapel here, a vineyard there, a treasury or a training ground. In Bad Bryzik, the Templerhof, built in the early 13th century, even housed a precious relic, a silver cross fragment of the true cross, trapped in the Donatus chapel by the river. That relic, local lore tells us, still survives today in a nearby church. The very name of Tempelhof in Berlin, or Tempelgasse, Temple Lane in villages like Bryzik, carries the echo of the Templars' presence through the centuries. These were not vast castles like in Outremer, but humble strongholds and manor houses. A commandery might consist of a small fortified house, a chapel and a farm building. Some, like Tempelhof, were encircled by moats and ponds. Others, like the Templar farm in Hesse at Lorch or in Franconia, oversaw vineyards and forests. In cities, the Templars owned urban compounds. In Frankfurt, for instance, they held a house am Kornmarkt by 1284. For a time, their financial acumen made them bankers to kings and protectors of pilgrims even in these German lands far from Jerusalem. Charters bearing the seal of the temple secured their land grants. In them we glimpse Latin phrases recording gifts to the knighthood of the Temple of Solomon. The Templars had woven themselves into the feudal patchwork of the empire, respected and even revered. But this golden era would not last. Act 2. Strongholds, Saints, and the Fall. Dawn of Friday, October 13th, 1307. A date that lives in infamy. In France, King Philip IV's agents swoop down upon the Templars, arresting every knight they can find. The shockwaves reached Germany swiftly. While Philip's charges of heresy and devil worship were politically motivated, they cast a shadow over every Templar presbytery in Europe. In the German principalities, reactions vary. Some local lords are skeptical of the accusations. The Templars in their domains have been loyal and pious warriors. Yet the Pope, Clement V, eventually issues the Bull Vox in Excelso in 1312, officially dissolving the order. The Templar brethren in Germany lay down their swords. Many properties are quietly transferred to the Knights Hospitaller, the Order of St. John, a command of the church and imperial authorities. In Berlin's Tempelhof, for example, Markgraf Waldemar of Brandenburg allowed the Hospitallers to take over the Templar villages. A transition so smooth that by 1312 the red cross on white was replaced by the white cross on black of the Johanniter Knights. No stakes are lit in these parts. No grand executions take place on German soil as they did in Paris. But not all endings were bloodless, at least if one believes the legends. Along the Rhine stands a craggy fortification, Burg Lahneck, perched high above Lahnstein where the Lahn River meets the Rhine. According to local lore, when the Templars were disbanded in 1312, 12 fugitive knights, the last of their kind, barricaded themselves in Lahneck's tower rather than surrender their sanctity or their treasure. The Archbishop of Mainz, a powerful prince of the church, sent forces to root them out. For days the castle was under siege. Finally, in a heroic last stand, the dozen Templars fought to the death on those ramparts, defying the persecutors to the very end. They perished, so the tale goes, in honor rather than face disgrace. Centuries later, the poet Goethe, traveling this very Rhine gorge in 1774, was inspired by Lahneck's silent ruins to write Geistesgruß, ghostly greeting. In his verse, he imagines high up on the ancient tower stands the hero's noble ghost, which whenever a boat passes by bids it a fair journey. Local people knew exactly who that noble ghost was. The last Templar, gazing eternally from the crumbling tower. The fall of the Templars in Germany thus lives on, not only in archives and edicts, but in haunting legend. A dramatic counterpoint to the quiet transfer of deeds that most historians record. Fact and myth entwine like ivy on the castle wall. Act 3. Tunnels, treasure, and ghosts. Myths in the map's shadow. After 1312, the red crosses vanished from German landscapes, but whispers of the Templars never died. In the absence of living Templars, folklore and superstition rushed in to fill the void. Across the German realms, rumors spread of hidden Templar treasure buried in haste as the knights faced their end. In the free city of Frankfurt, it was said that beneath the house at the Kornmarkt, once a Templar house, lay a secret crypt brimming with gold and sacred artifacts. Some claimed a tunnel ran from that cellar all the way to the river Main, through which the Templar gold was spirited away in the cover of darkness. In a Bavarian village called Dingingen, an old saga spoke of a chest of Templar gold hidden in a field, a Schatzversteck, a treasure cache, never found despite generations of digging. Farmers plowing their fields there would tell to their children to watch for any glint of ancient coin turning up in the furrows. And then there are the ghosts. Many a ruined chapel or manor once owned by the temple acquired a tale of a restless spirit. Villagers in various locales recounted sightings of a knight in a white cloak wandering by moonlight. In some stories he was headless, in others merely silent, but always appearing near the old Templar grounds, perhaps searching for something lost, or standing guard of a hidden wealth. At Burg Lahneck, as we heard, legend insists a phantom Templar still stands vigil on the tower, greeting passing boats with an unseen salute. In the Rhineland, they say on stormy nights you can hear the distant echo of battle cries around Lahneck's walls, the final 12 knights refighting their last battle in the thunder and lightning. Even in placid Bad Bryzik, locals long spoke of strange lights flickering in the ruin of the Donatus chapel on certain holy nights. Could it be the Templar's silver cross relic glowing with otherworldly energy, or the ghosts of Templar monks chanting their offices at midnight? The Tempelhof there was rebuilt and became an inn, but some swear that in its cellars bricked up passageways were discovered, tunnels that perhaps once allowed the brothers to escape to the Rhine, or to hide their sacred objects. Such tunnels are a common motif. Nearly every Templar site has some legend of a secret escape route or hidden chamber. These myths persisted because they filled a craving, a sense that the dramatic story of the Templars could not have simply ended with paperwork and property transfers. No. Mystery had to remain. Thus, the German imagination peopled the map with an unseen layer. If the map shows where the Templars were, the myths show where they are, forever roaming the land of legend. Treasure hunters, even in recent years, have followed these old stories. Some have scanned the grounds of abandoned preceptories with metal detectors, chasing glimmers of what might lie beneath. Others conduct ghostly vigils in Templar chapels, recording eerie sounds. Thus, the Templar sites in Germany live dual lives. By day, historical landmarks, by night, the stage of the supernatural. Act 4. 20th century echoes, from Nazis to New Age. The Templar mystique did not remain confined to quaint village legends. In the tumultuous 20th century, it took on a new strange form. In the interwar and Nazi period, fringe thinkers and occult societies in Germany became obsessed with the Templars and their supposed secrets. The Templars were woven into elaborate conspiracy theories. Some writers claimed secret Templar grandmasters had survived and orchestrated events from the shadows. Others insisted the Templars' lost treasure included not only gold, but sacred knowledge, perhaps the Holy Grail itself, and that it remained hidden somewhere in Europe, waiting to empower those who found it. The most infamous appropriation of Templar lore was by the Nazi SS leader Heinrich Himmler. Paradoxically, while Nazi ideology vilified Freemasons, whom they saw as modern heirs to the Templars, Himmler was personally enthralled by the image of knightly orders. He reimagined his SS as a new aristocratic order in the model of the medieval crusading knighthoods. In his mind, the SS were like the Teutonic Knights and Templars reborn. Disciplined, loyal unto death, guardians of the arcane Aryan heritage. Himmler's pet project, Wewelsburg Castle in Westphalia, was to be the spiritual center of the SS, a Camelot for dark utopia. In that castle, he even designed a Grail room, deep in the North Tower, where he hoped to assemble mystical objects. It said he was hunting for the Holy Grail and the Holy Lands, seeing these relics, often linked in legend to the Templars, as sources of occult power. In 1940, Himmler traveled to Spain, to the Montserrat Abbey, believing he might find the Grail there, chasing a clue from a German opera, Parsifal, inspired by Wolfram von Eschenbach's medieval Grail epic. This was the surreal climax of the Templar myth's mutation, from pious knights to villainous conspirators in some eyes, to mystical Aryan heroes in others. Under the Nazis, ancient myth and modern ideology collided. The ghost of the Templars was summoned as both an inspiration and a scapegoat. While Himmler tried to channel their mystique, Nazi propaganda also seized on old accusations, like those against the Templars, to paint Freemasons and others as diabolical secret societies. The very term Templar thus became enmeshed in the Nazi occult imagination, a cautionary tale on how myth can be twisted to serve dark agendas. After World War II, the Templar myth did not fade. It went global. Esoteric writers, novelists, filmmakers all picked up on the threat. In modern thrillers and conspiracy theories, German Templar sites occasionally appear as hiding places for lost scrolls or Grail relics, feeding the endless fascination. From the ruin of Lahneck inspiring Goethe's poetry to blockbusters and video games. The Templars straddle fact and fantasy. But what is it about this knightly order that so captivates us here in Germany and around the world? For that, we turn to our final reflection. Epilogue. Myth versus map. The legacy lives on. 7 centuries have passed since the Knights Templar rode on German soil. Today, if you wander the Tempelhofer Feld in Berlin, you'll find no trace of knights, only a vast open park where an airport once stood. Yet the ground remembers. Beneath lies the earth once tended by Templar brothers, the site of their Komturei. In places like Bad Bryzik, a traveler might dine at a restaurant named Templehof, perhaps unaware of the ancient chapel that once housed a relic of the true cross next door. Streets named Tempelstraße or Templergasse quietly memorialize the order in many towns. The map of Germany still carries those faint signatures of the past. That is the literal footprint, the factual legacy mapped in geography and stone. Then there is the other footprint, the one made not of stone but of story. The Templars left behind invisible marks in culture and folklore. In the popular imagination, they became symbols of ultimate mystery, guardians of hidden wisdom, curse-laden treasure, or eternal guardianship. The German experience shows this duality vividly. On one hand, we have ledgers, deeds, and ruins pinpointing exactly what the Templars built or owned, a map of reality. On the other hand, we have ghost stories by the Rhine, conspiracy theories in Nazi backrooms, and fanciful tales of secret tunnels, the myth that hovers just above the map. Never quite touching down, but never quite blowing away either. The video title Myth vs. Map speaks to this contrast. What does the Templar myth mean today? Perhaps it endures because it represents a search for meaning. The fall of the Templars was a moment of high drama, pious knights betrayed by worldly powers. And it left a wound in the medieval psyche. The myths that followed were attempts to heal that wound with imagination, to insist that such a powerful force could not simply vanish overnight. If the Templars had treasure, surely it must be hidden safely for some day. If they had divine favor, surely their spirits still guard us. In Germany, these myths took on local flavors. A hidden chalice in a Cologne cellar, a ghostly rider in the Black Forest, a Templar head carved in an Alzenau chapel wall. Each legend is a way of saying something precious was not lost. For us today, the mysterious aura of the Templars invites us to explore history with fresh eyes. It reminds us that places have memory. A quiet German village might have been the scene of holy vows and secret rites. A crumbling castle might hold untold stories in its stones. A Templar myth, whether spun by a tour guide on the Rhine or a novelist or a YouTube storyteller, challenges us to look at the map in our hands and imagine the legends that lie beyond its edges. Perhaps that is the true treasure the Templars left. A sense of wonder, a bridge between past and present, fact and fantasy. In the end, the German footprint of the Templars is both real and spectral. Verified commanderies and castles stand as testament to their historical journey, while myths and memories keep alive the enigma that makes the Templars timeless. We have traversed the border of myth and map. The illuminated initials fade. The red cross recedes into the parchment. But as we close the great codex of this tale, one thing is clear. The epic and mysterious legacy of the Knights Templar and German lands lives on, as long as there are those who listen for hoofbeats in the dark, or see a distant tower and imagine a noble ghost keeping watch. If you enjoyed this video, I would highly appreciate you share it with someone who's also interested in these kind of legends. Also like, share and subscribe if you haven't yet. And apart from that, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to get Germanized. Goodbye and auf Wiedersehen.
Wax cools on a line of time. Ash breathes where the borders shine. Coins sleep like moons in a bowl. Names fall.